Today I'm going to be taking a look at another retro emulation gaming console made by Powkiddy. This one is the Powkiddy A13. It's a clamshell design arcade style retro gaming console that claims to come with 3,000 retro games. It sports a 10-inch display and has all kinds of fun features. But how well does it perform? Let's take a closer look. The packaging is pretty basic and it comes with the console itself, a set of instructions, as well as a charge cable. The console sports that clamshell design, and it gives off the aesthetic of a small laptop, or maybe like a portable DVD player. The console got 6 arcade-style buttons, and has what looks like a battery compartment towards the screen. But when you pop it open, you can see that it's a housing unit, housing the actual joystick. The joystick screws right into place, and you have a neat functional portable arcade machine. Over on the top left, you have your start and select button. You have a plus and minus button that controls the system's volume, and a back button that you use to exit out of whatever game you're playing. Flipping the console over to its backside, you have a power on and off button, a USB Type-C port for charging, a micro SD card slot. You have a headphone jack, 2 USB ports, so that you can plug in some extra controllers for multiplayer games, as well as HDMI output. You can plug this thing up to a TV and use it like a regular console. The entire console has a bit of a plasticky feel to it, and the buttons and joystick definitely don't feel of the best quality, but for the price, it's pretty solidly built. The 10-inch display is actually really nice and vibrant, and handles glare really well, making this thing good to go for outdoor use. It has a built-in rechargeable 4000 mAh battery. While filming this video, I had this thing powered on and playing for well over an hour, and I hardly put a dent into its battery life. So the menu's pretty basic. You have a history tab listing the games that you played before. The game tab is where all the console's games are stored. You have a movie tab. I'm not sure exactly which file types this console is capable of playing, but apparently it has video playback. Then you have a file explorer, along with a settings tab. Going into the games tab, the console has CPS emulation, Final Burn Alpha, Famicom, Game Boy, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, Game Gear, Mega Drive, Neo Geo, and PlayStation 1, as well as Super Famicom. As I previously stated, the console sports 3,000 classic games, but I noticed that some of them are repeats. Now, one area that this console really surprised me is with its built-in speaker. This thing is loud and really deep. I would have never expected legit arcade-style audio to come from this plastic housing. Listen to how loud this thing gets. So although I stated the buttons and joystick aren't the best, they're still good enough to perform fairly well. I had a relative easy time with my inputs while playing fighting games, and there is a ton of fighting games on this console. In case you haven't already guessed, here I am playing Street Fighter 3 Third Strike using the console's Final Burn Alpha emulator. Right now I'm playing Tekken 3 using the console's PS1 emulation, and once again it handles it pretty well. Playing MK2, I'm actually using the console's Sega Mega Drive emulator, and I have to say it runs really well and looks really good. Marvel Superheroes vs. Street Fighter. Everyone always talks about Marvel vs. Capcom, but I feel like this is the more underrated entry into the franchise. A really great game. One thing that I found fascinating was the inclusion of handheld titles with this console. It was definitely a unique experience playing some of these handheld games using a joystick and arcade buttons. It felt pretty interesting, almost like a whole new experience. I definitely can see myself playing a lot more of these handheld games using this console. Some of the choices for the PlayStation console are a bit strange as well. Like, I don't ever see myself playing Silent Hill using an arcade stick and buttons, but I suppose you can always hook the console up to a TV, plug in a controller, and play most of these games that way. So it's nice that they thought about the console's multiple uses when loading up the game's library. You gotta do a little bit of digging too to find certain games. I noticed some of the games' names are off, probably due to poor translations. I don't even want to know what Electrosperm is. I have to say, I really dig the console's game selection. It's got a ton of classics, and some really great games that I always felt should have been arcade games. So the Powkiddy A13. I have to say, if I had played this console about like 3 years ago, I would have thought it was the greatest thing ever made. But right now we live in a deep ocean of really good retro emulation consoles. Is the Powkiddy A13 good? Yes, it's very good. It's a very good console. And for the price, you get a ton of versatility. The ability to play games in arcade tabletop mode or plug it into the TV and play them in console mode. As far as features go, this thing is great. But in terms of performance, I feel like there are other emulation consoles out there that perform a whole lot better for about the same price. Do I recommend this console? Absolutely. If you're looking for a solid arcade style experience and you don't want to break the bank, this is the one for you. But I've seen other portable consoles that can emulate N64, PlayStation Portable, and even Sega Dreamcast really smoothly for about the same price point of under $100 US. It just all depends on what you're looking for. Personally, I think something like this is great. I just wish it had more horsepower and can emulate more games. If you guys are interested in the Powkiddy A13, I'll put links in the description below. Until next time, this is Ness, signing out.